tell us, maybe from your experience, like what is it that's stopping people from aggressively adopting it? I mean, it's great. Everybody comes and listen, but they go home, they're not actually ready to use it yet. It's been intriguing me, like why? What would be the reason?
Well, I think, as with most new approaches to things, most tools, most tool chains that are different, it takes some changing.
Yeah.
And of course, as much as we all embrace change, we all are reluctant about it at times.
That's right.
But I do think, and I can speak more to the Spring side of things, so I don't want to I mean, that's what I know, so I'll cover that. That's what I know best. But I think many times when we create a new tool set or a new approach to doing things, we don't make it necessarily that easy to transition into that from what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it makes a lot of sense to have bridge technologies or an approach that is very low friction to move from one to the other. And in Spring, the way we approached it is to make it as frictionless as possible to switch from an imperative model to a reactive model. And by that, what I mean is that everybody is free to implement the reactive stream specification in the way they see fit, and they can determine their level of compatibility and compliance with the TCK, the Technology Compatibility Kit. And that's great because there are different visions that can be used to implement that.
That's right.
The way we did it is we based kind of everything around like Java 8, Streams API, Lambdas, and we kind of looked at Spring as the foundation. So if you are a Java developer or a Spring developer, you're used to, let's say when you return a value from a method, I started to say function, I'm being Kotlin already again, but if you return a value from a function slash method, it can be let's say an object of type T, so a thing, one thing, or an iterable of type T, so a collection of objects, let's say.
That's right.
With our implementation, Project Reactor, what we did is we said, look, it makes sense to have a reactive publisher, which can be 0 to n.
Yeah.
But to specialize that and to consider things as a mono in our parlance,
That's right.
so 0 or 1 value, which corresponds to that one object of type T.
That's right.
Or a flux, which can be 0 to n, which means like a small collection or even an indeterminate number over an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
So I think when you switch from the imperative to reactive model within Spring applications, you're switching from one thing to another very similar thing, which helps reduce those barriers to entry.
Oh.
The other thing I think that makes a lot of sense, sorry, I don't mean to go so long on an answer on one question, but the other thing that makes a lot of sense is that, sorry, just lost my, I hope we can edit this out. But instead of having two different approaches to consuming, let's say, the values coming back from a publisher, like we had REST template, which was used widely for imperative interactions, and we have web client. So web client is reactive, but it can also interact with imperative HTTP-based endpoints that will return non-publishers, so non-publisher types. So it allows you to start transitioning without eating the entire elephant at once. So I think that's absolutely critical because, I mean, as much as we might like to just shut off everything and rebuild everything overnight and boom, everything's reactive tomorrow, we can't. I mean, that's not the practical reality. So in so many ways, we've tried to make it easy for developers and to make it painless for developers to work with both worlds until such time as they can or it makes sense to convert more or all or whatever works in their particular situation.
I
so
see.
That's my long answer to the short question is why isn't there more adoption? I think because in technology sometimes we're not always great about easing the path, smoothing the path.
That's right.
And that's one thing or several things we're trying to do to make that path easier.